Hiya lovelies, or welcome if you're new here, I'm Linz. So for any of you that have been around for a while, hello, I am back. It has been a minute. So we are starting off today with what has been one of my favourite meals over the last couple of months. And that is, as the title suggests, honey garlic chicken and rice. All done, one pot in the Instant Pot Mini using the pot in pot method. So I have used a few wee bits and pieces. This has already started because I forgot to film the intro earlier, but we've got a video, so it's all good in my opinion. I do hope you're going to like this one. As I said, I have used a few other wee bits and pieces because I am using pot in pot method. If you don't know what that is, you're just going to have to watch the rest of the video to find out. So my lovelies, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe if you haven't already. It's completely free to do so. And yeah, let's hope now we're back to weekly videos, fingers crossed. So I'm starting off directly in my Instant Pot mini bowl. In here I have about 350 grams. We can see the size of that. They're about just over an inch pieces. This is boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So about, as I said, 350 grams. You can do this with chicken breasts or chicken mini fillets or any of that kind of thing. It's just you need to make sure like the sizing is in around an inch, no more than 2-inch pieces, because it's all to do with the timings for this one. Now this step that I'm doing here, you don't have to do, but it just gives a little bit more depth of flavour, I do believe. So in with the chicken breast, or chicken thighs, should I say, the chicken meat, whatever you're using. I have here 4 quite good size cloves of garlic. Now, and I have just kind of put them through the garlic rocker thing. So I'm just going to throw all this in. Now, my honey has crystallised slightly while it's been in the cupboard. I know that I could melt this back down and bits and pieces like that, but I'm just showing you this is real life. I could have pulled one out that is completely, you know, crystal clear, but I'm not going to. Just a note on the garlic. If you're using like lazy garlic, I would say, you know, that comes in a jar, make sure it's not the one in the vinegar type solution, because it is absolutely awful in this recipe. So if you can get it a paste even, then you're looking at about a tablespoon, okay, of garlic in there. Now your soya sauce, or soy sauce, where's soya come from? You can use either light or dark. I know a lot of people depend on sort of salt content and things like that. I'm going to be using dark for this recipe, and we are putting in here 4 tablespoons. Come on. 2. 4. Now, what else am I using? I am using something that's going to be maybe a little bit hit or miss with people, but again, it's an optional thing. Hold on now, 1 second. I haven't filmed in over a month and everything just seems a little bit weird to me today. So, and as again, with the honey, use your squeezy honey. You know, there's a lot of people that will only use certain types of honey. This is an organic one, I do believe, from Lidl or somewhere. Doesn't really matter, to be honest to me. So in with this now. I've used the other side of the spoon and wiped off the soy sauce bit just in case anybody gets a bit strange with me. So I want 4 of these as well. Again, if you heat up, or you know, your spoon in hot water, your honey will come off a lot easier. Can't use that again because I've just stuck it in the chicken. Again, your crystal bits and everything, just throw them all in. See that? Come on. Normally I wouldn't use the measuring spoon for this because I can kind of eyeball it, but I'm just, you know, for your benefit. Now, 4 of them, I hope that was 4, I lost count. 4 of them. And now I can, not worried because that's gone straight for the wash. There we go. I have black pepper. You can make this quite kind of spicy without using any chili by adjusting the amount of black pepper you use. This is ground black pepper and I am using 1/4 of a teaspoon. This is something, if you want to just start off a little bit lighter with this, then you can, and then you can adjust it after it's cooked. But that to me is kind of the perfect sort of ratio for this amount of ingredients. Now this is the one where a lot of people are going to maybe not like me for it, but again, this is optional, okay? In here is called MSG powder. A lot of people are against it because of health things and stuff. Do your research, see what suits you. If it doesn't, then don't use it. But again, I am using 1/4 of a teaspoon. Optional. So don't get at me down in the comments. This is how I cook. You do you in your kitchen. Now, with all that, all we're going to do now is give it a really good mix. We're going to cover this up. Now, you can use sort of like saran wrap, I think it's called in America, cling film. I bought a pack of these, I don't know, silicone sort of cover things. I'll link them if I can find them down below. But that there, see that? They're really good them, I like them. This is going to go into my fridge now until we're ready to cook it, okay? So I will be back then, and then you can see what's happening afterwards. So it's a few hours later now, and I have just taken the chicken with that marinade out of the fridge. Now, as I said earlier when I was preparing this, you can miss this step altogether and you can just put it all in and go straight for it. So in with this mix here, I am not getting rid of that marinade because we are using everything. There's no waste with this meal. I have 250 mils of chicken stock. So basically what I've used is a chicken stock cube. I think they're either Lidl or Aldi. They're just a basic one, or I suppose if you wanted to go OXO or something, or if you have your own chicken stock, that would be amazing. So 200, and as I said, of 250 mils then of liquid with that stock cube. Now I made this up earlier, and then because I was meant to start filming, something happened. So everything that's going in here now is cold. So that's that part. In here I have roughly about 1.5 cups of, this is just your really cheap frozen mixed vegetables. You can get it in any Tesco's, Lidl, Aldi, any of them. And that, again, this is optional. If you don't want veg, don't have veg. When I first started making this recipe, I didn't put any veg in it and just have it with the chicken and the sauce and onion then. Now, have you ever wondered when, you know, you get maybe a Chinese or something like that for takeaway and your onions are always in massive big pieces? Well, basically, you just take your onion. It's just a medium onion. Obviously, you've took the skin off. You've topped and tailed it. Is that the right way of putting it for an onion? I'm not sure. But straight down the centre, into the side, into the side. Watch your fingers, and that is going to give you your biggest chunks. Now, obviously, in the takeaways and stuff, they use big things like, I think they're called Spanish onions. So that's that. Or if you feel a little bit easier doing it, that way. Just don't cut off any limbs, please. So that's that. That's basically it. I'm not doing anything fancy. Okay. So now I picked up a new trivet for my Instant Pot Mini. It's not the original one that came with it. If you can see, this is a taller one because we are doing pot in pot cooking and I needed something a little bit higher up. So that is just going to go in. Just make sure it's on the bottom like so. In this bowl here, hopefully I am in frame. I am. Just we'll pop that in there for a second. I'll show you the jug. I have this little jug here. Now it's a 1 cup measure or around 250 mils on the measure. What I do is I put 1 cup of rice into this, put it into a sieve, rinse it really, really well. I'm using basmati rice. You can use just your normal white rice, long grain rice. I just prefer basmati. This recipe is not going to work with brown rice, okay, because brown rice takes a lot longer to cook. I'm not a fan of brown rice, but I might have to get some just to experiment with it for some of you that would prefer, you know, that type of meal. So 1 cup of really well washed rice. As I said, mine's basmati. I knew I'd forget something. I am just adding a sprinkle of salt. Then I am adding the same as where my rice came up to on my measuring cup or measuring jug of just, this is just normal cold water. So we're going to pop that in there. Let's give it a little bit of a thing. Now, you can use tin foil for this. It works perfectly fine. I do recommend covering it because I did try it without and I ended up with a lot of the sauce in the rice and it was still edible, but it just didn't work very well. So I picked up some of these silicone bowl covers. I'll link them under the ingredients list down below. They're not an overly tight fit, but they do the job. And I have been using these now for the last couple of months and they work absolutely perfectly. Something else just to keep in mind, I'll be using basically one of these to lift that back out because this is squished down and then I can grab a hold of it and take this pot out. If not, you can make yourself a little sling out of some tin foil that you're just going to put under there and then you can just lift it back out. So that's that. Now it's going to help to turn on the Instant Pot because, yeah, I didn't do that either today. So can we see? There we go. Not greatly, but I'll explain it. Okay. We are going to take the lid, where have I put that? Oh, there we go. Take your lid, make sure your vent, depending on which pressure cooker you're using, is set to sealing. If you don't have the one with the automatic jobby job here, we are going to go on to the pressure cook. Now, mine's already set because this is my most used time. It's set for 5 minutes. If you have your pot, you have to press. It's just started. There we go. So basically, we're on high pressure for 5 minutes. Let this come up to boil because everything's cold in there, and take into account that my chicken was in the fridge as well. So this is going to take a little bit longer for mine. So I'm thinking maybe 15 little bit longer minutes to come up to pressure. It's going to do its 5 minutes and then you are going to leave it, don't touch anything, the keep warms on for 10 minutes, a minimum of 10 minutes. If it goes over that a little bit, don't panic. So I'll come back when it's done its 5 and when it's done its extra 10 or so minutes and we'll have a look then. Okay, so this got to 11 minutes after its 5 minutes. And I've released the steam because, you know, I didn't want to deafen you all on camera. So we're just going to remove the lid. And as you can see, don't panic if this happens. Basically, this is why we have the lid on the rice. We're just literally going to pour that off like that back into the pot. I'll take that out and we'll remove the lid. Now, some of that, I'll show you again, has gone into the rice, but it's perfectly fine. And what I'm going to do, basically, if that lid wasn't on there, I hope you can still see me, then this whole thing would have been filled with the liquid that was on top of that. So all I'm going to do there is just kind of fluff up that rice a tiny little bit, like that. We're going to remove the trivet, or stand, or whatever it's called. Now, we're cancelling this and we're going to put it on to the saute function. In here, I have 3 heaped teaspoons of corn flour mixed with some cold water. That's just that starting. Mixed with a little bit of cold water. If you put hot water into this, it will just go into a big clump. So it has to be cold. As I said, 3 heaped teaspoons. You can use arrowroot powder as well if you have it. And if somebody could let me know, is cornstarch that you get in America the same as corn flour? I'm not sure. So just let me know on that one, because I know I'll forget to search it later. So basically, this is just going to start to come up to a little bit of a boil. We might not need all this. This is going to depend on your preference, on how thick you like your sauce. You could leave it like this and do it as like a soup mix with maybe some noodles in it or something if you weren't fond of rice. But I am going to thicken this. So we're just going to get that moving a little bit. And pour it in slowly. It starts to thicken really quick and you'll get an idea of how thick you want this. So, and that there for me is plenty. So as you can see, we have a tiny bit. This stuff is not expensive, so I don't mind that little bit not being used. So that is coming to the boil. We have, oh, and I didn't mention, I have enough in here for 4 portions, okay? Now 2 portions of rice because we like our rice, but if you were to prefer to have just a smaller portion of rice, then you could easily get maybe 3 to 4 portions out of that rice I've done. So that's done. I am going to cancel that. That just carries on doing its thing. I'm going to go and plate up the rice and then I'm going to show you it when it's on the plates. So there we have it, 2 really big portions of honey garlic chicken with rice and another 2 portions of the sauce to go into the freezer for another day. So, okay, now I just want to show you the actual size. I know this looks like an awful lot of food, but I do real portion food in my house. As I said, with that rice, you could easily get 3 portions maybe out of it if you'd liked a little bit less food. Anyway, lovelies, I hope you've enjoyed that and it's given you a little bit of an insight more into pot cooking and literally how capable the Instant Pot Mini 2.8 3-litre 3-quart model is. And that is why I absolutely love this machine. Now, wherever you are, I hope that you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for spending time with me in the kitchen. And I will talk to you hopefully all down in the comments or over on another video. But bye for now.